Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I just was at CVS and I decided to pick up a newspaper, but I also picked up this candy. One of the ASMR channels I listen to, Chemo Sin ASMR, she was showing her Easter candy, and she said these white cream and peanut butter Reese's eggs are the best candy. And I just was like, I have to try it. Now I've already opened it and cut it in half and took a little bite because I had to share it with my husband. But I tell you what I like about this. First of all, I don't think that the chocolate in Reese's peanut butter cups has all that much flavor. So really this cream, if you called it white chocolate, if you call it cream, it's all kind of just sweet. But what I like is the peanut butter. The Reese's that you get now, it'll be all greasy on the bottom and sometimes greasy on the top. This is like, and she mentioned this too, this is like a dry, almost crumbly peanut butter. And I almost feel like I taste a touch more salt. So I do think it's better than your average peanut butter cup. But altogether too sweet for my taste, honestly. You know what I really like? The Trader Joe's makes a dark chocolate peanut butter cup. That I like. I like dark chocolate. I'm a big fan. Anyway, just wanted to share that because I picked it up. Okay, so I was buying distilled water for a project and then also this peanut butter cup. And it said, "Do you want a receipt?" And this is at the self-checkout at CVS. And I said no, but then I realized it said there'll be a $3.50 coupon on your receipt. Whatever, I always forget to use those coupons anyway. But I was like, oh no. And then on the way out, I saw the newspaper stand. And so I went back over. I took my stuff outside because I didn't want to get accused of stealing because I had no receipt and no bag. So I put that in my car. I came back in and I picked up the paper and I was just kind of looking up the headlines to decide if, I was ready to talk about this on camera. Not, we're just going to look at it. And the guy working there, this older guy, I mean, he's probably my age, I don't know. But he comes up behind me. I swear I looked at it for less than a minute. And he goes, "Are you going to buy that?" I'm like, yeah. But also, what do you care, dude? Weird. Anyway, so I bought here the New York Times. And it says all the news that's fit to print. Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. Strong to severe thunderstorms will affect areas from Texas to lower Michigan, while many areas in the east will experience record warmth. Weather map appears on page B12. Using my battleship. So this could get maybe a little political, obviously, and it's going to be about things that are happening in the world. So if you're not interested in hearing that, totally get it. You might want to click off now, because while there are other sections, often I find this section takes so much time to get through, and it's a lot, and there's no way I won't start to go off about it. So I would click off now. And if it matters to you, I'd say my views probably are more centrist, turning more left-leaning. So if you're like a Fox News person, you're probably going to want to click off because you guys get mad at me. So I'm just going to put that out there too. What else was I going to say? All right, so world economies brace for blowback of U.S.-led Iran war. I have always said this word Iran, but I believe that the proper way to say it is Iran. Is that right? I think so. Iran. Um, so, yeah, anytime there is unrest in the world, or especially for the markets to just not know how things are going to go, it can cause a lot of problems with economies. So in particular, like this one, the U.S. bombed a refinery, I think it was, in Iran. And because of that, and because the Straits of, how do you say it, Hormuz, are not the straits, but yeah, maybe that's what it's called. Anyway, it's a waterway, and I'll show it to you, actually. I brought the atlas just so we could take a second to look at it. Hopefully this doesn't hit. Okay. Sorry, I gotta move my water out of the way. So here we have, here's Saudi Arabia. Here's the United Arab Emirates. Is that how you say it? Emirates? I don't know. And there's Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait. Here's Iraq, and here's Iran. And this is the Strait of Hormuz. And well, because like Dubai was hit with bombs, and a lot of areas, even Cyprus. I was going to look up, where is Cyprus? Oh my gosh, it's way over here, isn't it? Oh, because it's near Israel. Here's Israel. Here's Mediterranean Sea. Okay, but this area, you basically can't put your ship through here right now because it's just too dangerous. And this is where a lot of the shipping goes through. And so that makes it harder to transport fresh food into this area. And these areas are huge. We're not talking, this isn't little. These are huge. And then like oil and whatever out, I guess. I think that's what's happening. Correct me politely if I'm wrong in the comments. But so this area is very dangerous for shipping right now. So that's why the markets get a little, squeamish when these kind of things go on. And it causes trouble all over the world. Like, I don't know, I can't get into it all, but it's trouble. So here's Iran. I wanted to show you one thing. It's kind of interesting, I guess. I actually bookmarked. Oh, maybe that page would be better, but so here is Iran. And it is we talked about this in the Will There Be a Draft. It's a big country. Like if you look at it compared to, Europe, it's big. I think I said in that video, I think it's 90 million people. And you look at how much, like you have borders with Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan. I don't know if any of these countries have changed their name since this atlas. I don't know my countries that well. But and then all the way up here, you have Turkey, Iraq, all this. So it's kind of a hard country to invade on foot. I can't close this without hitting everything. Okay, so I just thought we'd look at that real quick so we know what we're talking about. Okay. So here we go. In Iran, my fears are greater than my hopes. Residents are trapped by attackers' bombs and rulers' wrath. Yeah, so the guy who was the supreme leader was the Ayatollah Khomeini, and he was killed during the bombings, the initial bombings. Well, now his son, who I don't, his name's in here, he's also Khomeini. He is the son of the supreme leader. He has now taken over the supreme leader, as supreme leader. And his name will also be, I guess, Ayatollah Khomeini. Now his dad, who was killed, was like 85 years old and not doing well health-wise. So I think it was already in the works, that the son was going to take over as supreme leader. But the thing with Iran is it's they also have a president. And the president was not killed. He's still active. So now President Trump didn't want that son to become supreme leader, as I understand it. He wants somebody he approves of. And he has kind of, I think he has said that he will not last long. But then people in Iran are saying Trump should be worried about not lasting long. It's like volleying back and forth with this. So I don't know. We will see. We will see. But then Trump, he held a press conference last night. I think it was like 90 minutes. Well, and then he did the other one with the baseball cap. So I can't remember which one I was watching clips of. But you know, he talks about boots on the ground, and I'm very interested in that because I did that video about the draft, and he still isn't ruling that out. But he also is saying it'll be a quick turnaround, but then sometimes says it might not be. So here's the problem. Here's a problem I'm having with what's happening right now is I'm not clear totally on what the original objective was and what the outcome we seek is. And I feel like the American people should be very clear about at least that. Like, it's unclear right now, are we at war? Because they're not calling it war. Well, sometimes they call it war. Some people sometimes call it war, but they're being kind of careful to not call it war. And that is because of I have the Constitution here. That is because of, in our Constitution, it says to declare war, grant letters of marque, is that how you said it, and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. The Congress shall have the power to lay, this is all part of like what the Congress has power to do, to declare war. So that is not in the hands of the president. He has to first go to Congress, get approval, and then he can go to war. And then he can ask for funds from Congress because he got approval. But he's kind of done this in a way where he went in and did it because he says it was an imminent attack situation. And now he has to go to Congress to ask for funds for it. Because right now this is costing about $1 billion a day, from my understanding. But we did that big, beautiful bill video. And so we know that for this year, there is $1 trillion, I think, for funding for the, Department of War, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. I don't know what'll happen with that. They have to go to Congress and ask for more funds. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. That's the basics of what's going on right now, right? Oh, I know what I was going to say about the boots on the ground thing. I was like, well, when I made the video about the draft, I was kind of like, I don't really see a point to putting boots on the ground. But as I've researched it more, I think, and this is, I don't know, I'm no expert, I'm no war person, I don't know. This is just, there are 2 nuclear enrichment, uranium enrichment facilities in Iran that are basically underground. One is called the Fardow site, and that is the one that the U.S. hit with these bunker buster bombs back in 2025. And I believe that's the place that Trump said it has been obliterated. But satellite imagery has shown that maybe it was not. So there is that. And then there's a secondary place called the Pickaxe Mountain. And okay, I gotta back up a minute. So we had a deal with Iran previously where, in order to not put sanctions on them, they would allow international countries, and it wasn't necessarily the US, but international countries to come in and inspect their nuclear facilities. So I think because of that, it was known that there was a centrifuge under this Pickaxe Mountain situation. I could be completely messed up, so please go look it up. I'm not trying to spread disinformation. This is just what I'm just speaking to you like a friend who's looked stuff up. um, so, but Trump felt the sanctions weren't strong enough. No, Trump felt the sanctions were unfair, I guess is what it was. Or the lack of sanctions. Okay, we had taken off sanctions to allow people to go in there and look. Trump didn't think that was a good deal. So he said, I'm breaking that deal, that brokered deal. And now no international people can go in there and look at what they're doing, and we can sanction them, which is basically like charge them money for stuff, right? I think that's right. I should have looked more up. I may have to do a whole thing on sanctions. I don't know. But anyway, so we left that deal. So at the Pickaxe Mountain, I think Iran is saying there's a centrifuge thing there, but satellite imagery has shown that maybe there's uranium enrichment going on there, which is, I guess, a bigger deal. So I think, and this is just me, I think, if I'm understanding it, the reason why they would want to possibly put boots on the ground is to go in directly to those two mountains because they are well protected. I don't think you can just fly a plane over it. They're ready for that. So you have to go in somehow. I don't know. That I'm a little unclear on. But I think that's why they keep that open, why that's staying open. Okay. Are we all clear on this now? But, I don't know. I totally, I don't know. And I just want to say, the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, I'm blanking the name, but anyway, Khomeini, not Khomeini, whatever. He's a bad dude. It's not like anyone's like, oh, he was such a good no. This guy killed protesters by the thousands. He was a bad dude. But I don't think his son is like necessarily any better. And when the attacks happened, not only was the son's dad killed, but his wife and his son were killed. So now he's the supreme leader, and he's not going to make any deals with the U.S. or Israel, I would imagine, if I had to guess. So I don't know. I don't know where it goes from here. And having watched a lot of I don't watch Fox News, and I'm sure they will tell us, but from Trump's own words, I haven't heard anything that tells me what the end game is right now. So that's what I'm curious to hear. Okay. Trying to contain harm if fight drags out. Fuel prices could soar and stay elevated for months. That could make groceries and other shipped goods more expensive. And consumers and businesses stung by the rising costs could choose to spend less, constraining economic growth. In the eyes of economists, that is the increasingly real and dire picture from the U.S.-led war with Iran, now in its second week. It may be a conflict of President Trump's making, but it's becoming the world's latest economic headache, one that has sent foreign leaders scrambling for ways to contain possible fallout. At the heart of the panic is a surge in the price of oil, which at one point rose above $100 a barrel on Monday. Yeah, that's what made the stock market drop. But then they lowered the barrel cost to $90. So then the stock market rebounded big time. That's what I'm saying. Like the futures predictions is what, like, how sometimes they'll say the company was expected to lose 5%, but it only lost 4.8%. So its stock soared. It's like, wow. Okay. But that's just how these things operate sometimes. Anyway, because energy is central to the functioning of the global economy, the turbulence has prompted fears about a prolonged conflict that could exact a deep financial toll around the world, including on Americans. In response, world leaders convened an emergency meeting of the Group of 7 countries on Monday, where finance ministers considered, yet decided against, tapping their national stores of oil to increase available supply. The gathering came as Mr. Trump continued to assert that the war he started with Iran would be short, rendering it unnecessary for the U.S. government to mount a major economic response. The president was set to appear at a news conference later Monday. Yeah, he didn't talk much about that he kind of said, I'll be honest, some of what he said was sort of like riddles. It was like, I don't know. It was kind of, I don't know. Riding to Ukraine's scarred east with a weary, defiant Zelensky. Oh my gosh, he does look weary there, doesn't he? President Vladimir Zelensky, with tired eyes, deep worry lines, and a beard flecked with gray, boarded a train on Thursday night to Kyiv to visit his troops in eastern Ukraine, where the fighting has been fiercest. It seemed a lonely journey. The U.S.-Israeli war, launched against Iran almost a week earlier, had pulled the world's attention away from Ukraine's bloody war with Russia and delayed the next round of American-backed peace talks. Supplies of air defense missiles that Ukraine desperately would like for itself were being quickly consumed in the Middle East. At home, Ukrainians were increasingly exhausted after a cruel winter of Russian strikes. Yeah, I bet he's exhausted. FBI obtains 2020 vote records in Arizona, expanding inquiry. The FBI has expanded its criminal investigation into purported irregularities in the 2020 presidential election, issuing a grand jury subpoena for reams of information about vote results in Maricopa County, the largest and most influential county in the swing state. The subpoena was issued in recent days to the Arizona State Senate. Warren Peterson, the Republican president of the Arizona Senate, confirmed receiving the subpoena in a social media post on Monday. Late last week, I received and complied with a federal grand jury subpoena for records relating to the Arizona State Senate's 2020 audit. Mr. Trump has long been fixated on his defeat in 2020. The investigation into supposed irregularities in the race is his latest effort to harness the vast investigative power of the federal law enforcement and bolster his baseless claims that election was stolen from him. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. How the Times is reporting the war. Facts of interest. Though scientists have said it's nearly impossible to drown in quicksand, a mixture of sand and water, sand and air that appears solid but becomes unsteady when disturbed, it can still be dangerous and difficult for people to extricate from. Yeah. AI companies are seeking 85 gigawatts of power for a new data center by 2030, and a fifth more than the power grid can currently supply, according to S&P Global, a market research firm. I've thought about doing a video on these things. 85 gigawatts. Are they reporting that? Because isn't that what in Back to the Future, Doc Brown needed 85 gigawatts, and they had to get a bolt of lightning. In February, Russia sent about 5,000 one-way attack drones and decoys into Ukrainian cities, according to the Times analysis. Ukraine downed about 87% of them. Around 27% of men will develop groin. I don't know what that word is. groin hernias at some point in their lives. In the United States, around 800,000 groin hernias are repaired each year, making it the country's most common surgery. 3-6 Mafia was the first hip-hop group to be awarded an Academy Award for Best Original Song, winning for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp from the film Hustle and Flow in 2006. Asian countries are trying to cope with climbing oil prices that have resulted from the war in the Middle East. In India, the city of Pune temporarily suspended gas-based cremations, asking customers to use wood or electricity instead. Interesting. Ooh, skillet chicken thighs with broccoli and orzo. That sounds like something I've just thrown together a few times in my day. What does this say? Biohacking can include changes to your diet, such as adding supplements to your food. Are you biohacking your diet? If it means eating good food, yeah, probably. It refers to the practice of making changes to your diet and lifestyle, often beyond the realm of conventional medical wisdom, in order to optimize health. Whether that means adding butter to their coffee, loading up on fiber, or mixing colostrum, that's like isn't that from breast milk, into a smoothie. Yeah, I think I've done all those things in my day. Pakistan caught between religious ties to Iran and need to placate U.S. Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of countries who are. Islamabad wants to retain Trump's favor, but faith and low oil stocks pull strongly. Iran's supreme leader choice signals defiance and perhaps an opportunity. On its face, Iran's choice of the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, Ayatollah Khamenei, sent a message of continuity to a country battered by war. It was also a show of open defiance to Iran's attacks. The United States and Israel killed the new leader's father and predecessor, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in the opening salvos of their attack on Iran. They had openly warned Iran against replacing him with his 56-year-old son, a hardline cleric, seen as close to Iran's top military force. The group of 88 clerics, known as the Assembly of Experts, selected Mojtaba Khamenei despite those threats. That choice risks prolonging the war and creating more uncertainty for the country, should he meet the same fate as his father. Iran was already deeply divided between those who support the clerical ruling system and those who oppose it. Choosing another hardline leader may only deepen that divide. Yeah, it could become a civil war within Iran, I think. And I don't know what happens if that happens. I'm not sure. I don't have a clarity on any of this. Do you guys? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So you know how there was a girls' school that was attacked on the opening day of this. And it's in Iran. And it's kind of near a base where they have, I don't know what, some of their military or government or something, I forget. And it's absolutely awful. All these little girls were killed. And, at first it seemed like U.S. did it, or Israel, one of the two. And then people, and I think Trump himself came out and said, they did that to make us look bad, maybe? Is that the reason? I think that's what they said. But now there's video that shows it was a tomahawk hitting it. And only the U.S. and like Australia and England or Britain or something have tomahawks. So then a reporter asked Trump, said, did they steal the Tomahawk? And Trump was like, he kind of didn't answer that question and said, well, whoever did it, you know. So I don't know. But it doesn't appear that Iran did that to themselves. A newly released video adds to the evidence that an American missile likely hit an Iranian. Sorry, I want to say Iranian because but I think it's Iranian. I don't know. Iranian elementary school where 175 people, many of them children, were reported killed. The video uploaded on Sunday by Iran's semi-official Mehr news agency, which, by the way, I don't know that we should trust this news agency either. I'm not saying and verified by the New York Times. Okay. The New York Times verified it by GPS coordination or something on the video and time. I don't know. Somehow they had the ability to verify. Shows a Tomahawk cruise missile striking a naval base beside the school in the town of Minab on February 28th. The U.S. military is the only force involved in the conflict that uses Tomahawk missiles. So yeah, it does seem like all these. I mean, look, either way, it's like terrible. These little girls, these innocent girls. Conflict crimps the supply of oil in a fresh reminder of its power. Countries reliant on imported fuel may turn to renewables. Well, that seems could be good. World economies gird for blowback of war. Trump downplays the risk but does not rule out sending in troops. Yeah. That's actually pretty scary. I know a lot of you have military, or are military. I've seen in the comments, and I'm sorry, that's scary. I feel for you. France is sending a large naval force to the Mideast, Macron says. This is not an offensive mission, a leader notes. What is this? France will send 10 warships to the eastern Mediterranean, the Red Sea, and the Strait of Hormuz. I guess that's how you say it. Where oil tanker traffic has been choked off by the war with Iran, in addition to the 2 ships already deployed to the Mediterranean. This mobilization of our Navy is unprecedented, said Mr. Macron in a news conference Monday afternoon at a military base in Cyprus. Okay, because Cyprus got hit by an attack. Later, aboard the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, stationed in the Mediterranean, he explained that the naval presence was intended to protect French citizens in the region, guard against attacks on France's allies, and potentially escort ships through the Straits of Hormuz. I don't know why I can't say that word. Iranians are trapped by attackers' bombs and wrath of rulers. Yeah, I used to work with a girl at Red Lobster who was from Iran, and she talked about, her mom was a working woman and everything. I think it was her mom, maybe it was her grandma, because she was younger than me. And this is back in the early 2000s, probably. Yeah, it was. And I mean, even then, she talked about how awful the leader is there, and she would love to see him blown away. And because women were just taken from being Western society to, I don't know, not treated equally. Let's put it that way, and worse. Anyway, so it's a problem. Iran war rattles global markets. Tehran keeps up attacks on Gulf nations. I don't know where we go. Okay. British lawmaker wants King Charles to cancel U.S. trip. Okay. Troop deaths resurface. Relatives' grief from earlier wars. Yes. painful toll, and not only for families of the newly fallen. Yeah. It's frightening for people, I'm sure. Joining Zelensky on a visit to the front. Ukraine is helping U.S. bases in the Mideast by sending interceptor drones. As the war in Iran spirals beyond its borders, Ukraine has sent in interceptor drones and a team of drone experts to protect U.S. military bases in Jordan. In Jordan. I missed a sentence or something. Base of Jordan. Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, said, the United States made the request for help on Thursday, and the Ukrainian team left the next day, Mr. Zelensky said. It was expected to arrive in the Middle East soon. Ex-mayor aims to unseat Turkey's leader. Is that why he's in jail? I don't know. Some of these stories I don't even know about, you guys. Belgian, eek. Parents of school shooters face prosecution. Should they? Oh, gosh. That's tough. I guess in my mind, it kind of depends. Like, I know the one guy, he bought his son a gun, and he was, I don't know the whole story, but like if your kid's just mentally unwell and you had no idea, I don't know, it's hard. Because sometimes with teenagers, you don't know what. It's a tough one. Like, remember that kid in Michigan? Didn't his parents come in and like try to cover for him or something, didn't they? I don't know. Take that back. I'm not sure. How DHS has retreated on immigration tactics for now. Well, didn't they? They fired him. Well, they gave her a new position, Gnome, and our little friend. Oh my God, I shouldn't. What's his name? Oh my God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. After months of high-profile, militarized immigration raids in major American cities, the Trump administration has scaled back its deportation strategy, leading to a dip in arrests last month, according to 3 federal officials and internal government data. I think this was so unpopular, what happened. I'm sure they were like, good, maybe we have to back off, but they still have so much funding for ICE. I don't know. I think a lot of what went on was just, it was too much. In recent weeks, immigration agents have focused on conducting more targeted enforcement operations rather than indiscriminate street sweeps. The arrests have been less visible and chaotic than the campaign that led to violent clashes with protesters, including the fatal shootings of 2 American citizens in January. Well, 2, but then wasn't there another guy? Like, just recently they pulled over for a traffic stop and they shot him? I thought there was 3. Where did they talk about him? I don't know. But it does make you wonder, you know. Because there's still... Okay, FBI obtains 20... Oh, we already looked at that. Okay, a year after his arrest, Columbia graduate lives in limbo and fear. Mohammed Khalil has memorialized the license plate of the vehicles that park on his block. He keeps an eye on reflective surfaces. Sorry, memorized, not memorialized. Okay, so he's feeling in fear. Yeah. The government has accused Mr. Khalil, 31, of spreading anti-Semitism in the demonstrations that roiled the Columbia campus. Oh, he was one of the pro-Palestine at Columbia University that they were like students who were on student visas who were in these protests. Is that what this is? That was a brief feeling I felt before my detention. Am I paranoid? He last year became the face of the White House crackdown on pro-Palestinian demonstrators. You just can't demonstrate anymore, I guess. ICE detention of teen, and I don't mean that. Everybody has the right to protest. ICE detention of teen musician Royals mariachi community in Texas. Okay. Wow, this paper's something. Doge unleashed Chat GPT to slash grants for humanities. What is this? Doge spared some projects tied to the nation's 250th anniversary, including scholarly work on George Washington's papers and students at last year's finals of the National History Day competition. Its organizing funding was canceled. Okay. This is troubling, to cancel arts funding and science funding. After being sued 198 times, Trump keeps blocking funds. It's just so much, isn't it, you guys? Candidates signal support for AI and crypto. Upstarts take on Titan in Mississippi's primary. Rallying in Selma at a critical moment for voting rights. Two charged with attempting to support ISIS in Gracie Mansion attack. I don't know this. Do you guys? Jake Lang, a pardoned January 6 rioter, returned to Gracie Mansion on Monday to protest as Mr. Mamdani held a news conference nearby. Oh, this has to do with the New York City governor. New York City governor leaving Gracie Mansion was not home during the attack. This is how much is going on in the world. I don't know anything about this. I haven't even heard about this. Mamdani will add 1,000 preschool seats for 3-year-olds. I guess it's because it's the New York Times. They have the New York. I haven't even heard of this. Like, what? Admittedly, I haven't watched too much news. But plan to replace Manhattan parking lot with apartments raises hackles. Well, look at this for their cars. Wow, that's interesting. Space mirror would bring daylight to nighttime. Whoa. Scientists question startup's vision as launch approval goes before the FCC. A startup company wants to light up the night with 50,000 big mirrors orbiting Earth. What? Bouncing sunlight to the night side of the planet to power solar farms after sunset. Oh my God. Provide lighting for rescue workers and illuminate city streets, among other things. Scientists have questions about that. I haven't heard of this before. I have to read this one. Park Service warns visitors of quicksand at recreation areas in Arizona and Utah. We just read a thing about that. Thaddeus Mosley, 99, a sculptor whose star rose in twilight, dies. I've heard of him. I saw his work somewhere and I can't think of where. Anyway, Tatiana Wood, 99, acclaimed colorist who made Swamp Thing leap off the page. Oh, that's fun. I mean, it's not fun that she died, I guess, but it's neat. Bo Gritz, a Vietnam veteran called a real-life Rambo, is dead at 87. Let politics, not bombs, decide Iran's future. Trump is making Carter's mistake in the Persian Gulf, pledging U.S. protection for oil tankers in the Straits of Hormuz sends a bad signal. Yeah, he has said he would protect them, but it could make them targets, according to Iran. I don't know. Wait, where'd the rest of my paper go? Did it fall? Oh, it fell on the floor. Hold on. I gotta grab it. Arts. Maybe I'm wrong. Kennedy Center patrons lose a lifeline. When President Trump announced last month that he would soon close the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts for 2 years for renovations, he made no mention of the patrons whose own schedules would be transformed. Christine Smith, a retired art conservator in Alexandria, Virginia, has been a subscriber to the center for 25 years, taking an untold number of ballet and modern dance shows. For the 2025-2026 season, for instance, she paid a little more than $1,000 for tickets to a dozen dance performances. But things have changed. Well, I assume they refund her, right? I really love ballet, and I don't know how I'll ever see it again, says Miss Smith, 76 years old. She's far from the only Beltway resident who is worried. All right, hip-hop in Shakespeare's house. Chadwick Boseman plays Deep Azure draws attention to his theatrical side. Okay, interesting. What does it have to do with Shakespeare? Learn that Shakespeare's Globe Theatre has staged largely forgotten. Okay, so it's Chadwick Boseman's wife heard about the Globe Theatre. She did something she'd never done before. Okay. The Black Panther in Shakespeare's house. That's fun. Some overlooked films deserve a second glance. Okay, which ones? The Luckiest Man in America from 2025. I never heard of it. What? The behind-the-scenes television tale dramatizes a real-life nail-biter. The 1984 appearance on the daytime game show Press Your Luck by Michael Larson, whose quick accumulation of the biggest cash tally in the program's history raised alarms as the cameras rolled. The director, Samir Oliveros, assembles Luckiest Man like a quiz show in miniature, keeping the action uncomfortably confined to the CBS studios and letting the events play out in something akin to real time, with the show's producers and host, played by Walton Goggins, I love him, piecing together Larson's shady motives and backstory. Oh, I'm going to watch this. I might watch this soon, like in the next couple days. Camp X-Ray. I've never heard of this. They're right. These do need a second glance. Danny Collins with Al Pacino. That's on Netflix. Camp X-Ray is on Paramount. The Luckiest Man in America, Hulu. The Crime Is Mine is on Amazon Prime. Digging for Fire is on Peacock. Bone Lake is on Netflix. And Tura is on Prime. I'm cutting this out. I'm putting this on my refrigerator. Maybe we should do like a... Okay, everybody go watch The Luckiest Man in America. What if it's not good, though? Well, if I like it, I'll maybe do a video on it, because that's interesting. All right, when hip-hop arrived at the Academy Awards, To Not Touch. Put 2 stars in each row, column, and region on the grid. No 2 stars may touch, not even diagonally. What? I may have tried this. I bet it's hard. Jealousy, Deception, and the Same Old Mole. Thrilling finds or merely unattributed art. Well, both, right? Collectors bought a painting top that they say is a lost Michelangelo. It has monograms above left. I see an M. Similar to those that Michelangelo wrote on his letters above right. Oh, this is the letter. This is the... Wait, where's the monogram? Sorry. Above left. No, this is it. Where's the letter? Above right. I don't see the letter. Anyway, above right, a bust of Christ also in question. Okay. It has monograms above left, similar to those that he wrote on letters. Oh, they just don't know. This doesn't look like his work to me. These faces don't look enlightened. And there's like not enough glow. I vote no to that bean. Woman held after attack on the home of Rihanna. Uh-oh. People are crazy. At the Watergate, finding room for scandal. I did a video on Watergate. Well, Greg and I did. If you're interested. Probably about 2 weeks ago, I guess. Business. I don't know if I feel like looking at business because that's going to be a lot of AI science. Numbers show off in new home. The National Museum of Mathematics in New York now has more room for exhibits. The National Museum of Mathematics. Along troubled, I didn't know there was such a place. Along troubled waters. High rates of cancer persist among indigenous people near Canada's oil sands wasteland. Uh-oh. That's not good. Losing muscle with the weight. Experts address a concern that some people have about GLP-1 medications. Start lifting weights. T-Rex ran on its tiptoes like an 8-ton chicken. I feel like that's how they showed it in the, not T-Rex, but the velociraptors. I feel like the guys ran on their tiptoes. In Jurassic Park, how a horse whinnies with a whistle and a song. To enter into the lair of ants, caterpillars cracked their code. I bet those are interesting articles, but scientists get a glimpse into how pandemics start. Testing the limits of microbes to find our origins. Interesting. Haunted by cancer, close to Canada's troubled waters. That's bad. There's an area near me where there's sort of cancer clusters, I think. Shift in risk for I never know how to say it. I can't say this word. Colorectal cancer. I don't know why. Some words your like brain goes. Scientists suspect that environmental exposures may be partly to blame. Yeah, this is interesting. I did the video on colonoscopies, and there has been this rise in under 55-year-olds having colon cancer, and there's not a clear, it's like, is it processed foods? Is it I don't think it's drinking more alcohol, because I think they're drinking less alcohol. I don't really think it's smoking, because I think people are smoking less. Maybe. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. And then I read that thing about distance runners, like ultra distance runners having it. And then I question diet, not the, yes, processed food maybe, but also the carnivore kind of stuff where they're not eating any fiber. That would be my thing, I think, if I had to guess. But I don't know. It is a strange one. Hot water gains a following. Health experts look at the various claims that are emerging on social media. We've seen prebiotic sodas for gut health, the Sleepy Girl mocktail for sleep, and lemon water for immunity and weight loss. Now the latest beverage riding the online wellness wave is hot water. A kickstart to the gut. Well, for sure, when you drink a cup of coffee, gets everything. GLP-1 users shouldn't panic over muscle loss. Doctors say everyday strength and overall health matter most. GLP-1 is, like Ozempic, Wegovy, those kind of medications. Hernia prevention starts with knowledge. Numbers show what they can do at their new home. Numbers show what they can do. What? Oh, this is the math place. Okay, business. I don't know. All right, well, I think we've done it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to hang on to this so I can watch. I think I will watch this Luckiest Man in America. That sounds interesting. Well, thanks for watching. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you really like it and you want to support my buying newspapers and stuff, you could join as a member or leave a little super thanks. Because this was $4, you guys. That's like 6,000 views you have to get on YouTube to get $4. Isn't that crazy? Well, because I don't run any mid-roll ads, so I don't make much money. All right, well, I appreciate you being here. Oh, and by the way, this was $1.99. It had no price on it, so I didn't know. I probably wouldn't have bought it for $2. Seems high.